important date to acknowledge, and I am delighted to let you all know that the Prime Minister will give some remarks in acknowledgement of this particular event. As you know, the CPC, the Constitutional Planning Committee, was established in 1972, and it took no less than 2,000 submissions and 100 meetings right across the country for a report to be presented to the Constituent Assembly at the time, leading to the full and uninhibited adoption of the National Constitution on the 15th of August 1975. The National Constitution is founded and established on a number of key principles: the rule of law, a parliamentary democracy, values that are enshrined in the Constitution that continues to prevail even as we seek to alter parts of it to accommodate growing and intended outcomes over the course of the last 50 years. The first one being an important amendment in 1976 that ushered in the provincial government system, and subsequently we've had no less than 50 minor amendments to ensure that we address key outcomes as they emerge in our journey over the last 50 years, the last being certain amendments intended in Section 145 that was done early this year. So on this occasion, this being a very important occasion in the history of our country, and it is within the scope of our 50-year celebration calendar, we are here this afternoon for the Prime Minister to release a statement and speak to the press in commemoration of what is likely to be known as the Constitution Day from henceforth going forward. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I would now thank you. You can come up to the front if you need to. And the Prime Minister has kindly asked you.
Long day where Constituent Assembly me adopting Mama Law. Mama Law blow country blow you mean. Mama Law me kirapim na walking custom. Custom lo look out in Papua New Guinea. Custom where CPC na John Momis, St. Michael, na all got a papa blow you me, Tumuna blow you me. All get they walk about lo country blow you me, also Chief Secretary talk. Na only walking over 2,000 consultations. Miss Save, because I'm long this time me working grade 10. Grade 10 long high school, and we only call them Form 4. So one plus committee and we come, members of a committee all Mackenzie Daugi and member Blow Oro and we come one time sampler line, now only ask him sampler questions, now talking online or come give him views law. And all missionaries they come, we give him views, now online the palace. But the end result was that as of today, the House of Assembly or the Constituent Assembly then adopted the Mama law country law yumi so. 50 years now, Tete, where yumi celebrating independence, yumi celebrating the birth of the Mama law, a law that looks after our country. And we give thanks to our forefathers for giving us a very good constitution, a constitution that some says it's gives us a lot of freedoms, and then others say, well, it gives us freedoms, but it doesn't obligate the people of our country into the way that we can run it. But it describes and gives forth the organs of government that have to be in order to have a nation state manage its own affairs. So in a way, and over the years we've proven that the Constitution is supreme. Parliament, although it's a supreme lawmaking authority, and it's made changes, and the first change, of course, was to introduce an organic law to decentralize, to give power back to the people in the, I think, 19 provinces at the time. And even though we've changed that law back in '94, the intents and the purposes are the same. And on behalf of all the provinces in a country, I want to congratulate Papua New Guinea, the nation state, for the endurance that we have and the tolerance we have had, and the way in which we have run the country according to the laws that were laid out. So the law has been flexible. We have tried on many occasions. There are constitutional crises from the time Naha was freed at around late in the first government of Somalia, when Naha was freed out of jail. From that time, a constitutional crisis happened. It affected the judiciary, and the Chief Justice at the time, I think it was Prentice, he resigned.
Justice Prentice, yeah.
So Justice Prentice resigned, and about 2 or 3 other members of the judiciary resigned, but the judiciary has continued in spite of the resignation, has continued to adhere, keep its independence. Parliament has also done the same, but in the provinces we were given the right to also make laws and to legislate, and I want to thank the government at the time for the wisdom. It saw us, however, after the reforms in 1994, we have basically lost sight. The provincial government, provincial governments don't do much reform, and there is a lot of work for us to do with the guidance of the clerk and the officers of this parliament. But Prime Minister, I want to say on behalf of all the governors of a province, I take this opportunity to thank the nation for allowing us space to make laws and to conform those laws to the guiding principles that are set out in the Constitution and amendments that were made for that first decentralization powers to the provinces. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tomas. Governor. I want to say thank you to the media and all of you who are here in attendance. Small but important occasion in which we thought we use this time to address the country through our media organizations. So I want to appreciate the press for coming out in full numbers. And if I could seek your indulgence, use this moment to make a relay, both Governor Habata's statement, Chief Secretary's statement. Earlier this morning, I had the privilege of opening University of Papua New Guinea law students' conversation on our national constitution. They are celebrating our nation's constitution. The students of law in the law faculty, and after my address, our second National Chief Justice, Sayano Lamed, also had an address, and our Chief Justice was speaking after I left for my other appointments. And so I want to thank Governor Habata for associating himself with this, representing our 21 provinces and our special region of Bougainville. Our Attorney General and Justice Minister has just stepped in. Our two Ministers of Cabinet, Minister for Fisheries and Minister for Finance, represents our Cabinet, and our Clerk of Parliament representing our Parliament. The three arms of government and subsidiary governments, starting with the provincial government, and all agencies of state, including all constitutional offices, were established by our Constitution. Today marks the 50th year of our Constitution's birth. Whilst the country was birthed on the 16th of September 1975, our Constitution's birth ushered in our country's birth. Constitution precedes our national birth. And so today is very important. It must be ingrained in our national conversations and our national calendar every year to honor the living document that has framed, shaped, and molded our country to what we are today. And I want to read, for instance, a letter written by the Deputy Chairman of the Constitutional Planning Committee to the then Chief Minister and Chairman of our Constitutional Planning Committee. He writes this letter, signed off, in fact, a letter presented on the floor of the House of Assembly, August 13, 1974. 50 years and 1 day, like yesterday. His letter reads, and it sets the pace for the Constituent Assembly adopting our Constitution on the 15th of August 1975. The letter reads like this: Dear Chief Minister, I have pleasure in submitting to you the duly adopted final report of the Constitutional Planning Committee. The committee has resolved that the report should be submitted to you as the Papua New Guinean head of the present government. It should not, we believe, be submitted to the High Commissioner as the constitutional head of our country. We consider transmitting the committee's report in this way to be appropriate and in line with our recommendations 1 to 3 in Chapter 15, Miscellaneous. Recommendation 1. Chapter 15 proposes that the ultimate authority for the validity of our Constitution shall be the citizens of Papua New Guinea, acting through their elected representatives. This is a letter prior to independence. So we were still reporting to Canberra in terms of key decisions. So as I'm reading this, I want this generation of Papua New Guineans to take a mind back to what it was before independence. These are somber moments we're living in the face of our nation's 50th, and every child of our country must understand the fundamental steps taken for the birth of our country, and this was some of the key steps. I was in Canberra when I read some of the documentations in the Canberra government archives, And some of them has these letters, and it's quite moving to read the steps that took place for the birth of our country. Sometimes we take things for granted. These were giants of our land who walked before you and me and gave us the opportunity to live in freedom we have today, and we must not forget that. And so the recommendation goes, as I read recommendation number 1 already. Recommendation number 2 and 3, Dr. Momis, Father Momis then writes, Chapter 15 provide details of the procedures which both the Australia Parliament and the Papua New Guinea House of Assembly would follow in bringing into being our nation, the sovereign independent state of Papua New Guinea and its constitution. As the High Commissioner is appointed under an Australian Act, the ultimate authority for the validity of our constitution should be questioned if our report was transmitted to him. It is precisely for this reason that we are submitting the report to you. The committee feels that the High Commissioner should be informed of the contents of this letter, under which we transmit to you our final report. Yours sincerely, Father John L. Momis, Deputy Chairman, Constitutional Planning Committee, August 13, 1974. Undersigned members are members of the Constitutional Planning Committee then, and they write in this parliamentary handset, Mr. Michael Somare, MHA. MHA is a member of the House of Assembly. Okay. Just like today we call them MP. Back then it's member of the House of Assembly. I'm deliberately making this so that all of you as our citizens could understand, our children could understand where we came from. This is our country's history, so you probably must clear good understanding why we come. So, Michael Somare, MHA, Chairman, ex officio, so Chief Minister, East Pacific Regional, Pangu Party. Second, number 2 Chairman, Father John Momis, MHA, Deputy Chairman, Chairman of the committees, Bougainville Regional, Pangu Party. Today I just landed. Father Momis was a Pangu Party member in 1975. What a privilege for me to live in the shade of this great man. Mr. Tay Abel, MHA, Leader of the Opposition, Wabek, Open, United Party. Mr. Paulus Arek, MHA, Minister for Information, Ijibitari Open, People's Progress Party. He passed away in November 1973, so he must have passed away. He was member of that committee. Mr. Agmai Bilas, line of Medang, you black clear Mr. Agmai Bilas. Medang Open, United Party. Mr. Makansi Daugi, Governor referred to him. Northern Regional United Party. I think 2 years ago he came here and then he must have gone back and he passed on. Mr. Sinake Gere Gere, Daulo Open, United Party. Dr. John Gais, our country's first Governor General then, MHA, he was Deputy Chief Minister. Alata Open, he was an independent member. Mr. Tony Ila, Lay Open, Pangu Party, he's still in Gero right now as we speak. Mr. John Caputin, Minister for Justice, Rabal Open, Mataguan Association. Mataguan Association were front runners, some of the front-thinking people, and who were also part of the cause towards our independence. Mr. Pika Kasau, Manus Regional Open, Pangu Party. Mr. John Kaupa, Suave Open. So today we have a John Kaupa, John Kaupa, father of our constitutional fathers. So Suave Open. God bless his soul. Mr. Paul Langro, MHA, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, West Pacific Regional United Party. Mr. Anton Parao, Western Highlands Regional United Party from September 1973. Mr. Stanis Toloman, Bogia Open, People's Progress Party. Mr. Matepe Yui, MHA, Tarib Como Open, United Party. Staff back then, Executive Officer, Mr. Save Avosa, Department of the Chief Minister and Development Administration. Legal Officer, Mr. John Lee, Counsel of the House of Assembly. permanent consultants, people line work of parliament to name people of staff kind of the history by reading so work people work. Permanent consultants, Professor Jim Davidson, deceased at April 1973, Department of Pacific History, Australian National University. Mr. Bennett Narokobi, Legal Officer, Public Solicitor's Office. Dr. David Stone, Research Fellow at Politics, New Guinea Research Unit, Australian National University. Mr. Errol Wolfers, now Professor, Lecturer in Politics, Macquarie University. Assistant in the Executive Office, Mrs. Jennifer Hayes. Secretaries, Ms. Gilly Bullock, Ms. Vivina Kuram, Ms. Clara Digelman, and the list goes on to those who have contributed to our national constitution. And the terms of reference are attached. I just want to say on behalf of our present generation, pay my respect to those who labored to construct a world-class constitution for all of us. And today in the university program, we did give a moment of consideration for that generation. Only few remain standing today. In fact, in this class of Fathers of our Constitution, Tony Ila, now Sir John Capitan, and Dr. Momis are the three that remains alive today. The rest has been called to rest. May God bless their soul, may God bless their memory, and may God bless their family and descendants who are still living amidst us today as we speak. What is the relevance of this conversation? As our nation faces 50th year of independence in September 16, our independence would be in total vain if the framework that shepherded us to independence was not bettered. The Constitution is the frame that ushered our country into independence. So it deserves its own fair recognition. The Constitution demarcates our borders. The Constitution reflects our national symbol. The Constitution gives spirit to our national vision and what we as a country aspires for. For instance, mentions the 5-point plan, our national goals that we have inside. The Constitution secures every citizen's right, and the Constitution continues to give authority to functionality of the three separate but equal arms of government we have in our country. And so this moment is not just a moment of reflection. This is not just a moment where we pass through thinking it's another press occasion by yours truly, the Prime Minister. It is a moment where we should, as a young children of this country, that generation that is now enjoying the freedom that was secured by the patriarchs and matriarchs of our country, we must show appreciation to the work that they put in. Just because the flag, and I have said this at the university today and I'm going to repeat, just because a flag was lowered and not torn, just because there was no gun fight or no blood loss, no exchange of a stressful contest between the administration in Canberra and our intention for self-rule here in Waigani, NCD and PNG, must not give us a lackluster, low patriotic view on our country. The Somali generation, the Momis generation, the Sedulous generation, the Caputin generation, that generation, in my view, are the greatest Papua New Guinean ever lived. Because for them, with no hindsight, but sheer determination and vision for a country that gives freedom to our children to live in, and they've achieved something that many parts of the world today still struggle to achieve. Of course, there was a rush to unshackle from the bonds of colonialism around those times in the 60s and 70s. But I want to remind every Papua New Guinean child again, don't take your sovereignty for granted. There were people who fought. In case you do not know, there was a time in the 60s and early 70s, in Ella Beach, they would have labeled like this: no natives and dogs allowed in Ella Beach Hotel and other places in downtown. And I repeat, there was once upon a time in our own land, there were public notice placed in public places, no natives and no dogs. And so this was where we came from. The Bully Beef Club, bathed in the kitchens of Lady Elizabeth Kiki, where conversation at a Bully Beef table led to the birth of Pangu Party on the 13th of June 1967, and led to this in the second House of Assembly in 1968, leaders coming together. 1970s, the conversation got bigger. 1972, the Constituent Assembly was established. And those moments happened so fast because they were our fathers of our country and mothers of our country who wanted our country to have independence and our children in our country to exercise their own constitutional rights. Over 2,000 written submissions were mentioned. Over 100 public meetings were held throughout our country. This was the first and possibly the only time massive consultation took place right across our country. Every district, every part of our country were visited. Even the constitutional fathers went out of country to also see from outside what is the best form of constitution that our country should have. And I want to say today, looking back 50 years on, there aren't too many complain on our constitution's ability to maintain individual citizens' right to exist in our country in total freedom. They've gifted us one of the best constitutions the world has ever seen. And our nation, like Papua New Guinea, with so much diversity in our tribal affiliations, so much diversity in our regional disbursement as people of the land. Over 600 islands, including our main land, Papua New Guinea, where our people are found, who have been living for thousands of years. It only had to be wise patriarchs to have the genius and wisdom to structure a constitution that embraces the diversity we have today. And I want to say, 50 years on, if there is one thing that has held our union together amidst many of our challenges, the ups and downs, after 7 Prime Ministers and me 8, over 18 Speakers of Parliament, around 5 heads of our judiciary, our democracy still functions on in the midst of many of the weakness we carry. Deep in the belly of our democracy has been the vitality and functionality of our Constitution. The 5 key constitutional principles, for instance, directive, national goals and directive principles, embraces all of our aspirations: integral human development, equality and participation, national sovereignty and self-reliance, wise use of our natural resources and environment, and of course, lastly but not the least, Papua New Guinean ways. They cast into us from 1975 the total intergenerational aspirations of our country. These are timeless values that will live on way after James Marape is gone and must live on into younger generations that come in our country. Never deviate from these principles that has been set. And I want to say that our constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy is a good one. In a nation of so much diversity we have, there can be no other form of government that is good for us. As we speak on our 50th anniversary of the birth of our Constitution. Let it be told, let it be known, and media take and transmit to all corners of our country. No other form of government is good for our country. Not one-man rule, not individual person thinking that his way and no other way matters. The collective wisdom of all parts of our country embedded in our constitutional principle, democracy, rule of law, preservation of human rights, our Constitution embraces, must forever stand the test of time going forward into our country. And I want to bring our press to a conclusion in the face of our 50th anniversary. As we look forward to the next 50, if any citizen amongst us asks this question, what can I do for my country? Whilst roads and bridges are important, and I made mention of this in one or two sessions back, whilst roads and bridges are important for us to build, and very soon I'll be able to drive from Port Moresby to Lae, and we are building roads and bridges as we speak. Road for me to drive to Alatau is ready as I speak. Anytime I find a free time, I'll be driving to Alatau. And whilst roads and bridges are important, whilst classroom and everything else is important, the best contribution from government to civil servant to clergymen and all of us in our country, the best contribution young generations can give to your country and all of us at present is to forever live under the shade of this great Constitution. The fathers and mothers and founders of our country have birthed in this day 50 years ago. This is the punchline. This is the conversation. In our Constitution, we find unity. In our Constitution, we find peace. In our Constitution, we find formula for equitable benefit distribution. In our Constitution, we find direction for the future. Let us not reinvent the wheel while government policies from government to government may differ, may shift, but in the heart and soul of the major focus of our country, direction is already set in our Constitution. As we stand at the threshold of our 50th independence of our country on September 16, I appeal to all of us today, every child of the land, boy, girl, man, woman, father, mother, brother, sister, wherever you are in our country. From this day onwards to September 16th, we have but 4 weeks. The Constitution was birthed before our flag was hoisted up for the first time. Constitution is the spirit of our country. It is a living spirit that embodies all of us collectively. For what is the relevance of hoisting a flag up, flying a flag, if in the heart and soul of every citizen's spirit, you have no respect for our Constitution? You don't need to be a politician only to respect our Constitution. And for every politician, there are a couple of moments where our Constitution will put to the stress to all clusters of members of politicians, from national government to local governments, and in between the provincial governments. I want to offer my counsel to all of you as the chief custodian of the Constitution at present. Respect our Constitution as you seek public office and as you work in your tenure as an elected leader. There were moments in 2011 in this parliament when members of parliament felt that they were higher than the Constitution, and that is not so. You are not higher than the Constitution. The Constitution is higher than you. From the Prime Minister, Speaker of Parliament, and Chief Justice as three head of our governments, from the Governor General as head of our state, to every citizen down the line. 50th anniversary of the birth of our Constitution. As Prime Minister today, I want to say, individual is not higher than the Constitution. Constitution reigns supreme at all times. And the Constitution is self-administrative, it's self-governing, it's life into itself. You want to change the Constitution, there's a constitutional process. If you want to go out of the process of the Constitution will bring you in line again. And I want to say at this juncture to our citizens nationwide, we, the 50th anniversary of our country, must pledge total allegiance and loyalty to the Constitution of the motherland. This is the Mama Law. The mother law that carols every citizen to live, work, operate within the confines and ambits of this Mama Law. So on our 50th, if you do not know what to do for your country, I want to conclude by asking you, start. And the only thing you can do is respecting your country's laws. John F. K. once said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. If you do not know what you can do for your country, then I put to each one of you, from the mountains to the lowlands, wherever you are found in our country, look deep within and pledge that as the flags goes up on September 16th, on 15th of August, every year we must commit to respecting the mother law, our national constitution. It was vetted earlier, before the flags were hosted for the first time on 16th September. It's now time for all of us, a call for action, that we come together and pledge unity under the emblem and spirit of our Constitution, and it must forever guide us into the future. The patriarchs and matriarchs of 1975 gifted to every Papuan child living after. I was a child living in the mountains of Western Province in 1975, not knowing that it would be here. Had it not been this Constitution and the provision of equal distribution of resources and embracing all parts of our country together, who would have thought a child in the bush of Western Province or West Pacific and later Hela could have moved on through life, found education, and eventually be the Prime Minister of our country in 2025. I could not have progressed much in life, neither can all of us progress much in life, had it not been our national constitution. Never forget this. And so it is the duty of every child of this country, wherever we are, that the defense of our constitution must be our number one task. Apart from Bible, as number one, Constitution comes second. These two documents shepherds and guides us through our life, today and for the next 50. Don't be like the politicians of 2011 who thought they were higher than the Constitution. No, you're not high. Constitution higher than you. To those who work in our judiciary, you're not higher, Constitution higher than you. To those who work in the national executive, where I am currently head of, you're not higher, Constitution higher than you. Constitution reigns supreme always, and may God bless the Constitution of our country to forever embrace every child, giving every child the right that they deserve to prosper in this God-given country called Papua New Guinea, our motherland. And so in this I want to conclude and close and say, from this time on to September 16th this year, in under 4 weeks, every one of us are asked to ponder on your own respect for our Constitution. It starts with basic things, respecting. If talked about Constitution, you want them something. It's really all about respect for each other wherever we are found. Respecting Papa, respecting Mama, respecting Pikini, respecting neighborhood. If you want me to say in simple terms, it's all about this. And respecting laws that govern us. From our Constitution, every other laws come out of it. That's why it's called the Mama Law. It bettered every other law that we have in our country. So, all the other laws are born out of our Constitution. And so, in summary, on our 50th, if you ask James Marape now, what are you going to address the country about on September 16th? This is a prelude to my conversation on September 16th. Find a place in your heart. May your soul be living incongruent to the spirit of our Constitution that talks about embracing your right within the right of each other as we live in this beautiful symphony of diversity we have as a people of many languages and many cultures, belong to many tribes, yet one people, one nation, one country exists under our one good constitution. May God bless Papua New Guinea. May God bless the fathers who have designed our constitution and the mothers of that generation who stood with them to give Papua New Guinea a world-class good constitution we have and we enjoy its blessings today. That's all. Any question from any one of you? Medias on the constitution, and I thought I'd make this so that you can relate to the country, to NBC and MTV. I don't encroach into your right of editorials, but you're a state instrument. This matter on constitution should take precedent, and please play it out to our people that we have a reflection on our constitution. So I just want you to get the program at UPNG, get this program, and relate to our people that we must all find our resting place and common meeting place in our nation's constitution. Any question? Thank you, Miriam. David Blaser. Yes, Ruth.
On the eve of independence and on our 50th anniversary of the Constitution, the country is now placed in, after 50 years, we are placed in a what where Provincial is now calling for independence, and we've never thought probably this day would come. Our Constitution never catered for that. How do you address that?
Well, it's part of the, our Constitution is also a living document. And Bougainville peace process is embraced under Part 14 of our Constitution, one of the amendments that took place since then. And so Part 14 of our Constitution separates the Bougainville peace agreement process, and that the Constitution itself will separate us through reaching finality of the Bougainville matter. So it's a constitutional process, and Constitution will have answers for it.
Prime Minister, you said the three legislators are still alive today. Are we anticipating some form of recognition come September 16th? Like Father John Morris?
It's a good statement, and I don't have an answer right away, but they'll have, if they can walk through, they're about these are the three of the members of the CPC, but we have about seven members of the then Parliament or then House of Assembly who battered our country. They're still alive. So 7 of them. 3 other constitutional fathers and 7 others, including one cabinet minister. So only surviving cabinet minister, I think, is 2 or 3 now. Seyana Bello, John Caputin, and Dr. Momis. There'll be a special place for them in our 50th anniversary programs. Some of them cannot walk right now, but few can. So we'll have a special place. So it's now our time to do the job and heavy lifting and work. There'll be a time, 100 years from now, the next generation look back. And for those of you who are still young, you can live in 100 years from today. I'll say you a secret. I was with Rachel, and we attended the Queen's funeral procession in UK. We were at Windsor, and when the body was to be lowered, the media don't. It's just for the side sort of conversation. And I reached out to Rachel and I said, I'm going to live to 104. And she looked stunned. She was stunned, and when we were back in the car, we said, driver drives, so talk Piscina talk. You're not picking any number, but why 104? You could have said 100 or something like this. Because the Queen died at 96. And so I said, no, you think about it. I'm not stupid to pick any number. I picked 104, so there must be a reason why I picked 104. And she couldn't come up with the logic of me picking 104 anyway. But I said, I give you time until we're back in a room. I'll tell you why I picked 104. So she couldn't work out why I picked 104, but by the time, and I said, you think hard and think deep. Think about my work and how old I am, and she couldn't really, because by the time we arrived, I said, look, when I turn 104, my country will turn 100 years. Our country. I want to live to see whether the interventions we're making now is worth it, or we were just wasting time in public office. So 100, there'll be a generation celebrating 100 years of our country, if Jesus has not come back by then. So let's preserve this democracy, preserve our constitution, and each of us, whoever you are, doesn't matter. Let's contribute to our country. God put him in one and a half will make it work. One who can walk his stuff, do it to the best of our ability, be an love country, and let's contribute. All right, Hemta Sola, thank you, media. I appreciate all of you coming by. It's a somber moment, and I just want all of you to take time, go and ponder our constitution. If you have not read our constitution, Parliament clerk, make our constitution available to anyone who wants our constitution. Put it on soft copy too. Beautiful piece of document. You don't have to be a lawyer. Sometimes the law classes and lawyers make us feel as it's complicated to read. It's a bullshit. It's not complicated to read. Easy. Just go and pick it up, read. Convince yourself with your mama law, and it will enrich you. I find it. I read my rights inside, not just as a politician, but my rights as a person. And I'm happy they gifted us a good living document that will separate all of us together. All right, thank you so much. God bless every one of you.
All right, thank you very much, Prime Minister. Let me on all our behalf acknowledge the Governor for Gulf, Ministers for Justice, Finance and Fisheries, and Clerk of Parliament. Thank you, media, for coming. Help us disseminate this information to those who are going to witness the 100-year celebration. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Seems like we're going to leave that. Sorry, you can sit up. All right, thank you. Something, Clark, you tell earlier. Versatile, versatile.
It is light, so it's light.
Mitla sedang start ini nggak piana. Agak action, mitla itu pasti piana. Tebak.